Hi, how are you today? My name is Ayo, and I have this. This is going to be interesting. Okay, this is going to be pretty much interesting, and I have to say this. Okay, this has been a long time coming. In fact, I think that I did not talk about this, or okay. Let me quickly say this is a book, or this was supposed to be a book, but it was taking too long for me to write, and it wasn't even for the profit. It was because I wanted to document help, for people. Okay, so I'm sorry that it took me this long. This will apply everywhere, and then whether you like it or not, this is real. This is real life. We presently live in a generation or a dispensation where men, particularly young men or people. So when I say man, I'm actually mean people. Okay, where men don't know what threat is because threat no longer looks like what it used to look like. Okay, but if you asked our forefathers, the threat to them at the time was threat to their life was real. When I say real, it was not systemic. It was not something. It was not propaganda. It was not gray areas. It was not technicalities. It was like a bear wanting to eat you, a lion running to attack you, and things like that. So it was real. Or other tribes who are waging war against you, or something like that. Or it could even be weather. Now you don't have to worry about weather because you don't. If you can be at home and then the rain fall on you, or you shielded from the sun, no matter what it is, you are protected from sandstorm. If it's too hot, you have an air condition. If it's too cold, you have a heater, and so on and so forth. So what has happened is that man, has lost his natural affinity or natural ability to sense danger, adapt, and overcome the danger. All right. So this has been a long time coming, and I am saying this, and for people who have received that my love letter series, I'm sure you've seen series where I talked about my experience with the Nigerian policemen, and this is relevant across boards. This is relevant for even black in American communities. It's just the thing about oppression is that it is a human thing. It is not a uniform thing. It is not about a color of a person or a color of a particular workforce or industry. It has nothing to do with uniforms, really. It's just that this is pretty much ingrained in the system, and then because I'm speaking from Nigeria, there's been a lot of uproar about harassment. All right, so but oppression and harassment happen everywhere. Lecturers harass students all the time. I was in the university. I know what I saw. People have gone through stuff. Bosses harass. Junior colleagues, even in this supposed police force. Some junior officers are harassed by their guards. So harassment has nothing to do with uniform. It is just that I live in a country where the trolls, the aggravation for harassment from police to stop has reached its senate. Of course, everybody around the world was aware of the NSAS protest of year 2020 and so on and so forth. So this is pretty much this has to be said. I wish that somebody had taught this or said this or documented help like this so that I don't have to do it. I just want to chill and just enjoy myself. I really didn't feel like it wasn't like I wanted a particular glory or a particular glamour. I just couldn't close my eyes to. I joined NSAP protest. I was in Abuja. We were at Luis Edet in Abuja. We had police water cannons, tear gas. So I was there. And I've been a young person in Nigeria. I'm a younger person in Nigeria, But I've been younger in Nigeria, and I've had to deal with police. And what I realized is that my experience, I've had experiences that are not so palatable, but at the end of the day, my experiences, when I put them side by side with other young people's experiences, I had tangents. Like, my experiences are totally different. In situations that I have come out unscathed are the same type or similar situations that my friends or people, didn't come out with this come out unscathed, and sometimes you say, but you shouldn't have done that, or you should have said this, or you should have said that, or you shouldn't have been like that, or you shouldn't have been like that, and then I realized that the things that I assumed were just commonplace, the things that I knew that I thought were just commonplace and that everybody knew, I realized that not everybody knew, or not everybody knows. If they had known, all of us probably may have been able to help the system. Alright? We may have been able to help the system, but we are unable to help the system or help ourselves because we don't know as much. So I think that the posterity puts the responsibility on me to profile this. Alright, at the beginning of this video, someone said, "Oh, is this what you want to talk about?" I said, "Yes." So what if the police come for you? The police cannot come for me, because to come for me would be to accept that they are harassing people. Alright? So all the ones who are not harassing will not want people to be harassed. So we say, okay, that's fine. If my colleagues harass people, it's better for these people. I've been in a situation where the policeman who was talking to me, I could see that his other colleagues didn't like what he was doing. Pretty obvious. So the truth of the matter is that there are the good ones, definitely. And like I said at the beginning, it's not unique to the police institution. It's not unique. Harassment and oppression is just a human thing. It's just a human thing. That's why we're in Africa, and then some people left their country and decided to come and enslave people in another place. Do you imagine? Imagine coming to a place and you look at another human being, and then you say, "I'm going to warn you," and then you chain them, and then you carry them, and then you marshal them for years. All right? That's slavery. And then it happened, and it happened. It happened everywhere. It happened from Arabia, Arabic slave. There's Arabic slave trade. It happened from East. It happened from Europe. So it had nothing to do with religion. Some of them had Quran in their hands. Some of them had Bible in their hands. So this has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with any particular institution. It's just a human thing. Which means, like I said from the beginning, which means that the onus lies on the oppressed to be wiser than the oppressor. Which means to the point, I'm still explaining why this is necessary. This means the point where I say for sure that if it takes wisdom to live life, all right? It takes wisdom. It is not stupid. It's not about stupid aggression. It's not about speaking fine English. It's about being wise. It's about being wise. And I think I have gone to the point, where I should tell you categorically that if you are a criminal or you're criminal-minded, I'm not making this video for you. I really hope that the law catches up with you. Really, because if you're a criminal, you are spoiling, you are damaging much more than you could ever repair. So this video is not for you in any way. But that now brings me to another technicality. As far as this is concerned, and a country, a community, a nation, as it were, is not built on suspicion. A nation is built on structure or rule of law, or a nation is constituted by precept. That's why you call it constitution. All right, which means, like as we have said, a person is innocent until proven guilty. Because if everybody were to walk around with suspicion and everybody had guns and everybody acted on their suspicion, who do you think will be left alive? Nobody, maybe one person. Who then will now die of loneliness? So it just doesn't work like that. But it's clear that you understand that what I am about to do for you with this video is that I want to help you, I want to enlighten you. One of the things that you must immediately understand, with this is that if you live in Nigeria, no matter where you live, okay, it depends, but because I'm Nigerian and I'm speaking from the angle of somebody who's lived in Nigeria, and my experiences with police is based on that, but because human nature is always constant, that is the reason why we are going to be able to apply it elsewhere, all right? But then, what I need to quickly clarify and tell you is that, you see, I have to tell two things. The first thing is that in every society, there is what is written, and then there is what isn't written. So it means that there's a constitution, there's a league of laws. Don't do this, do this. You can do this. You have the right to this. This is something that belongs to you because of this and so on. And you have several things, articles, of the constitutions clearly stated out. All right, good. And then in the same articles, you can have supposed contradictions. All right. So, for example, that thing when they say that there's difference between murder and manslaughter. Okay, manslaughter is like you didn't have any preemption, you didn't plan it. So it was like an accident or a provocation, so it's manslaughter. Now, if you are to be in a court of law, being tried for something like that, a lawyer can prove that it's murder, the lawyer can prove that you have intentions, that you are monitored that you wanted to do it. Okay. Now, what happens in this article is that sometimes you can have some supposed contradictions. For example, if somebody were to provoke you and slap you, what you should do is that, for example, you slap the person back or probably punch the person. But if you were to go take a gun and then shoot the person, then it goes like, are you kidding me? The person slapped you, then you went to take a gun. And then in some other places you have antecedent of, okay, so let's assume that the person slapped you, but there was a gun in your pocket. So you brought out the gun in your pocket and shot the person. You can say, oh, okay, so you already had it on your pocket, you were licensed, and then you used it. But imagine the same scenario where the person slapped you, and then you walked 10 kilometers to go get a gun, and then walked 10 kilometers back with the gun to come and shoot the person. It could be argued that you walking 10 kilometers all the way, and then walking 10 kilometers all the way back, you can no longer blame that on momentary anger. Do you see where I'm going? So, now if you're a lawyer, this is not the first time, you know about this, practically, definitely. But for some people, this is the first time that they are hearing such cases like this. how for example you stay away from people's wives or people's girlfriends because there is what you call a crime of law or something like that, of love, which means that if somebody kills you because the person feels that should not be, the person may actually escape and say, look, that is that's a crime of love. That's something that somebody did out of love. So someone can die out of love. Okay. All right. So that was just on a lighter note. All right. How this session does not get too long. If it gets too long, I'm going to make it into 2 sessions. But I really don't want to make it 2 sessions. I just want to teach you, run through all my points. I want you to get it. I want you to be able to apply it. Of course, I'm teaching you practical things because I'm going to be using real life experiences, scenarios that you can immediately apply. All right. So the first thing I want to tell you is that there are written things like the Constitution, and then there are unwritten laws. Unwritten laws. For example, you don't slap a clergyman. All right? Even if he was younger than you, it's not written anywhere, but we all sort of just know it because I don't know, maybe it's going to cost you and then you are going to die young or something, or maybe you're going to be miserable, or maybe God will rain thunder on you. I mean, we don't know. It's not written it's not written anywhere particularly, but we kind of just know that you don't do that. You also don't beat people older than you. I mean, it's not particularly written anywhere, but why would you beat somebody older than you? I mean, you just cost. Okay, so and then you have several of that. One of the unwritten laws in code or technicalities is that, for example, if you were to have a suit, say for example you have a case that involves police arresting you or involves you being invited to a police station for meetings or conversations, so being under arrest is not the only reason why you can be in a police station, for example. So another unwritten thing, for example, is that if somebody were to contact you on a Friday to say you are invited to so police station, it is unwritten, but not everybody, maybe some of you are here for the first time, everybody knows that you must avoid going to police station on Friday because you are not going to be able to get bail, because Saturday is not a working day, Sunday is not a working day, and then if you go before 4 and they close at 4, work has closed. Work will resume at 8 o'clock on Monday. So 4 p.m. on Friday and 8:01 on Monday is just 1 minute apart, as far as the law or the working days and so on is concerned, working hours. So if you click 4 p.m. dot, the next official time is 8:01 or 8:00. Do you get the idea? So whereas there are a whooping 48 hours plus between Friday and Monday. So if you were to enter there, in fact, you may not get bail, or you may not be released, and you may just be there, and then you might have slept in the cell or at the back of the counter for 48 hours because you didn't know. All right, so that's to give you an example of the first concept that I need to understand from this video, that there are written things and then there are unwritten things. Now, you can employ a lawyer and and your own personal research for written things, all right? But you have to employ wisdom and experience and observation and attention to unwritten things. For example, you think that corporate organizations are the most corporate organizations. But for example, one of the things that you will realize is that corporate organizations do a lot of uncorporate things. For example, if you work for a company that sold alcoholic beverages and you wanted to have say a carnival at a particular open space, and then some thugs walk up to you and they say you can't use this place. So therefore, what is written is that you have a constitutional right, if you have paid for a right to use a place, so you should use the place because you paid for it. That's what is written. What is unwritten is that you have to appease the miscreants that rule that area. So you pay the people that you should pay legally, and then you pay the other people you should pay not so legally, so that you can have the carnival that you want to have in that place. Now, corporate organizations can have plenty of names that they can use to explain the kind of expenses they do to appease the thugs or the miscreants of that particular area, so that they can have the carnival, and so on and so forth. So even as you for example, wear your tie and you go about the whole place, and you cannot always be about what is written. If you are always about what is written in Nigeria, you are going to suffer a lot. You are going to suffer a lot. So your ears must be down, your eyes must be open, you must be willing to learn, you must observe critically and apply wisdom as you deal with situation using the written things and the unwritten things. That's the first thing. The second thing, as I introduce this to you, is that whatever I'm about to teach you will not work if you are afraid. This does not work with fear. All right. I've had a saying. I didn't research it to be able to give you the names, but that saying that says that the coward dies 7 times before death itself. So this approach is not for people who are afraid. I mean, if you're already afraid, this is going to be useless to you. So what you need to go and do is that you need to go and deal with fear and its proponents. I don't care how you're going to, maybe you have to go to therapy, maybe you have to expose yourself to situations. You just have to, because this will not work if you are afraid. I'm not asking you to be overconfident, I'm not asking you to be stupid, I'm not asking you to be bullish. I'm not asking you to be, gregarious and all of that. I'm not asking you to just be, I'm asking you to have courage. I'm asking you that this will only work if you have the element of courage. Okay? Good. So, I think we can go further here. All right? Whatever happens, you need to understand that if you are ever faced with a police officer who wants to harass you, obtain you, extort you, and whatever thing that you were made to do that you shouldn't have done, you have to first of all understand that it is the police person, is a product of the system, of a system. In Nigeria, it's safe to call it the patronage system, all right? The Nigerian system is a transactional system. It means that there's always paying and buying. There's always buying and selling. There's always payment. It's transactional. The Nigerian system is pretty much very transactional, right? So once you understand this, you will begin to have a different approach. Now, it is the understanding of these new approaches or this new approach that helps. So you must understand the real working of the environment. You must understand the system. You must understand that you and the policeman who wants to harass you are product of the system. He wants to harass you because he has been programmed to do that. Okay? And if you hear their stories, you may almost empathize with them, to be honest with you, okay? But, empathy is definitely a very good attribute of a person, so yeah. So you should empathize. It helps you, actually. And then your goal must be to be able to get good result between the interaction of you and the police, which is the interaction between those products. So you and the police are product of the system, and when you meet, you interact, and your goal should be to be able to get what you desire out of the interaction. All right, good. Now, I mentioned earlier that this will not work for you if you don't deal with fear, and this is the part where I quickly talk about the concept of fear and its proponents. You see, there may be several reasons for a person to be afraid. Yeah. Yes, I do agree. And fear is good. Fear is there as a precautionary tool to guard your life. Okay? So yes, definitely. And I know that. And and that's true for everybody. So you should be able to, embrace the fact that you feel fear, that sometimes you are afraid. Good. Now, however, whatever level of fear that you have, you must also have that level of courage, which means to go against what you are afraid of. Because if you base your life, how do you think your grandfather was able to stay alive? He was able to stay alive despite the fact that every other day we go out to face challenges, real life-threatening challenges, the ones that you don't even face. All right? Have you ever woken up and then there's a big snake wanting to swallow your child? Have you? Have you ever had to travel miles in a bush, and be exposed to wild animals who will not hesitate to tear you apart? Have you? No, you don't. So imagine what your forefathers had to go through. All right. So It means that as Yoruba will say it means that when they say akinkanju means that there will be the proponent, the things that should make you afraid. However, you must be able to live your life despite that. You must still be able to go about your life even when there are things that should make you afraid. And I will talk more about this as it goes, okay? But I needed you to do that. So, let's talk about the contact, all right? What do I mean by contact is, so there is a point where you will have to have a conversation with a policeman or with a police officer, whatever category, whatever. I mean, we used to have special anti-robbery squad, SARS, and then you have anti-kidnap squad. You have also anti-cultism. You have monitoring units from IGP monitoring units. I mean, you have a lot. You have the normal mobile police. You have highway patrol. You have task force. Task force is when they take maybe a soldier, a mobile police, and then an NSCDC officer. And then they put them together, and then they form a particular task force for a particular reason. You have all kinds. All right. So point here is that they are officers of the law, and then there will be times when you will come in contact with them. All right. The only way you will not come in contact with them is if you don't leave your house. And then, in fact, as I've said that, some people will immediately defer because there's been news of police officers going to go and meet people in their house. Okay. We can argue about how that's not in official capacity and things like that and so on and so forth. But so you may still meet them by staying in your house. Okay, so yeah. Now, the mode and manner in which you come in contact with the police person can be different. But let me use the most common. The most common is police checkpoints. All right, police checkpoints. You're going on the road. That's most common. There are several other ways. For example, I mean, it's happened to me that I was driving. My friend had just bought a new car, and then we just went to pick the car, and I was literally driving, the new car, and it still had what's it called, nylon, all over it, so you could see like it was nearly bought, okay, and then this set of police people on the highway, overtook me, and they were signaling for me to park, okay. Of course I parked, but I mean, that's not the point. I mean, maybe I'll get to that story here and see what lessons you can bring from it and see how it can help you, So, so the most common way is that you are driving and then there is a checkpoint and then you have to park and things like that. Okay, so contact. Okay, so this is where it starts and this is where it gets interesting. The first thing a police does is profile you. The first thing a policeman or woman or officer, whatever, in whatever office or capacity, the first thing that they do is profile you. Profiling you is simply using elements of your look, demography, dress, maybe speech. Eventually you start to talk, but not even speech at this point. They just take information, they take every non-verbal information about you and then they use it to decide who you are. That's profiling. Now, they may be wrong, but the thing is that they are usually right more times than they are wrong. Yes. You have to agree with that. When you are an exception, you don't know that you are an exception. When you are usual, sometimes you don't know just how usual you are. So, the first thing a police does is that he profiles you. Now, there are several profile types, and one of the things that you will see, or one of the notice, is that this video is pretty much very original. All right, so it's hands-on, and you can apply, and it's relatable, and it's real time, and so on and so forth. So please pay attention. It's very important that you pay attention. So you're coming, you're driving, and then the policeman is at checkpoint, looks at you, you're driving, you don't see him, but he's already seen your car. And then you're coming, as he has seen your car, he already has possible profiles in his mind. If you are using a salon Benz, he already thinks that this person that is coming has money. All right? This person that is coming has money. And he needs to now decide what type of money he thinks that person has. Is it the kind of money that he should collect and have a part of, or the kind of money that he should beg to get a part of, or the kind of money that you just salute and then say goodbye? If you drive a type of car, there are certain people who already have preference for a type of car. You may not know why you have preference for the car, but there's already a demography of people, which means that if you run statistics out of 100, you can say that 80 people out of every 100 that buys this car are this type of people. That's profiling. And this is the part where I quickly talk about the common, the most common profile types, and then give you explanations and then recommend to you what you should do with them, or see which one you fit into. All right. The first one I want to talk about is guilty and afraid of the law. Now, good. Do you remember at the beginning of this video, and I said something about guilty until proven innocent? Innocent until proven guilty. Good. That's what is written. Innocent until proven guilty is what is written. However, what is unwritten is that you might just be guilty until proven innocent. So you are in a system where it is written that the law must prove you guilty, and until the law proves you guilty beyond every reasonable doubt, you are innocent. That's what's written. However, you live in an area where the unwritten code is that you are guilty until you can prove that you are innocent. So if you go about behaving like I'm innocent until proven guilty, you are a joker, because it means that you don't know the system, you don't know the working of the system that you live in. You don't know the working environment where you have found yourself. But if you immediately understand that it is always innocent until proven guilty and guilty until proven innocent, always playing, it's like, when you say yin and yang, it's like black and, it's like when, that yin and yang thing, okay? That's how it goes. It's like bad and evil. Some people say that evil and good they're always together, that kind of thing. Okay? So there's a drop of evil in every good, there's a drop of good in every evil. That kind of a thing. Yeah. So once you understand that, you will now understand why it is for me to come up with a profile that says guilty and afraid of the law. So you may think, I am not guilty of the Constitution, of the written Constitution, because if I am guilty of the written Constitution, then you have to explain, you have to prove, you even first of all have to have warrant for arrest. You have to first, it has to be that there is a reason, somebody has reported, somebody has filed, there's a case that you're investigating that, that you have every reason by somebody's statement or somebody's investigation that I am linked to a particular crime, and so therefore to be arrested. And when I'm arrested, then investigation continues until you are able to prove that I am guilty. Otherwise, I'm innocent. So you may not be guilty of the written Constitution. However, you can be guilty of everything unwritten. Let me give you an example. So let's say you're a guy and you're just a dude, and you're in the market. You know, I don't know why you're in the market, anyways, but you're in the market, and then so this lady steps on you, and then you are irritated because not only that she stepped on you, she kind of knew she stepped on you, but she wasn't going to apologize, and then you say, "Excuse me, you stepped on me," in your most whatever way to get her to say, "Oh, sorry," and then maybe she says, "No, I didn't," or "So what?" or just as you're like, you're in the market, duh. People step on people in the market. And then you go like, "Are you crazy? Are you stupid? Are you something?" And then you go like that, and you shout, and then you're shouting, and then you're shouting, and then you're like this, and then you say, "You don't have home training," and then you're like, and people come and meet you and say, "Guy, you are a guy. You don't follow a woman to be abusing each other. How you behave like a woman?" It is not written anywhere how women should behave. It's not written anywhere that men should stomach insults and then the woman should be uncut and rain insults. It's not written anywhere, but we all kind of know that if you are a man, you should simply say, "Walk away." It's difficult, right? Well, but just walk away. That's what's not written. So, that kind of a thing. So, you can be guilty of all the written laws in the society that you live in. For example, you are wrong or guilty if you carry dreadlocks in Nigeria or in some certain part of the country. Dreadlock is a crime against the proponent of the code of how to be well dressed written by our parents, unwritten by our parents, elders. Because you are coming from a system where somebody who is not your father or your mother can call you to order in the Igboro, in the town, can say, "What are you doing there? You leave that place." And person is your father and your mother. That's where you're coming from. So if you are wearing dreads, you are already guilty. Not of the constitution, but you are guilty of the moral codes. For example, there are certain things that you will not do in the public in the north. Not because they are not constitutional, not because they are unconstitutional, but because there is a moral, there is a religious atmosphere there that decides what is permitted or not permitted. So imagine you go there and say, no, as long as it's within the constitution, you're just really stupid. And I don't mean that to spite you. I'm saying that if you ever have to do that, you have to make sure that you have all the necessary equipment to wear that look. So you may be guilty that you have tattoos. Alright? You may be guilty that you have dyed your hair as a guy. You may be guilty of several things. So you're coming, the police decides if you are guilty. You can now argue that it's guilt by constitution, it's guilt by non-constitution, and things like that. But you're guilty. So first profile, guilty and afraid of the law. Now, guilty and afraid of the law means that when push comes to shove, you start to stammer, you're afraid of what they can do to you. Good. First profile. Second profile, guilty but not afraid of the law. So you are doing one of, or two, or three of all those things that you are guilty of with the unwritten code, and then you I have to go get water. So the second profile is the guilty but not afraid of the law. All right. So this person is guilty of all the things that should not be done based on the unwritten code of your environment. Good. Now, every time that there's going to be a change, it's going to be, for example, for a particular set of things to move from unacceptable to acceptable is always going to be a tug of war. All right, changes are usually not palatable. All right, so maybe soon, maybe a time will come when dress will just be okay. Right? I think that I'm making this video, it is not particularly mainstream. All right, there's still some stereotype attached to people who carry dreads. Now, not just about just the dreads, dreadlocks alone. For example, if you were a popular comedian and you carry dreads, you are already known. So they already don't have to profile because they already know who you are or what you do. If you are a footballer, you carry dreads, it's already known that okay, you are a footballer. Footballers have this thing where they are kind of allowed to, they are cut some slack to wear some certain looks. But so you're not a comedian, you're not a footballer, you're not popular, you're just a random dude who just decided that the hairstyle he wants to carry is a dread. Alright? So you're already guilty of a particular racing code. Alright, so now you could be guilty, but not afraid. Now, if you are not afraid, it has to be for two reasons. Or maybe say three, but I can immediately talk about two. Number one reason you are not afraid if you are guilty of those things. You see, no one can be guilty of the Constitution by just looking. People have to be proven guilty. So you being guilty means that you are showing some physical inklings that you are living a type of lifestyle that is not legal. So it means that the policeman knows that if he beams searchlight on your life, he will find a list of illegal things that you are doing that he can pin you for, or a list of illegal things that you rather not have the law know about. So your dressing or the way you carry yourself is sometimes screaming, I have skeleton in my closet. That's what it means. That's the idea of profiling. So some look scream, I have illegal issues. I have issues. So when you see a policeman talk to you or address you from that angle, it's because that's what your looks is screaming to him. You don't know it, you just come, you just drive, and then you just come. He's looking at you and you are shouting, every time you shouting, I'm a criminal. I just haven't been caught. I'm a criminal, I just haven't been proven to be one. So that's what happens. So if you are not afraid, guilty or not afraid, two reasons. It's either you're stupid, because you should be afraid. Because you should be afraid. I spoke to I had a conversation with a long time ago, a lawyer. We were together and then we were pulled over by a federal safety official, and then we had I think we had one of our brake lights not working, and then it was against the code of a safe road use, And then my lawyer friend was telling the road safety person, look, that was wrong. But you can't pretend like anybody can 100% right in the eyes of law. The law can always find you guilty. For example, where you live right now, have you paid tenement rate on it? So, if some people were to come for you, if the law were to come for you. So, to not be afraid, the first reason you will not be afraid is that you're stupid. Is that you are ignorant, that you don't know. You don't know what's up. So, when you are guilty and not afraid, maybe I should quickly talk about it myself. The first thing the next the police does is to check why you are not afraid, to see that is it stupidity or ignorance. And then there is another reason that you are not afraid. The second reason that you are not afraid is that you have a serviced relationship with a top government official or police officer. You have maybe the commissioner, maybe a deputy commissioner, maybe assistant commissioner, maybe somebody high ranking. That's the only way you can be guilty of unwritten constitutions and be unafraid. Otherwise, you should be afraid. Okay? Good. So that's the two profiles. The next two profiles is the naive and afraid of the law. Naive means that they don't know how things work. They don't know why the police are there. They don't know what police does. They don't know what you don't know. They don't know. They don't know stuff. They're just this. For example, they're just one of those people who say, "Me, I don't participate in politics," so and they wear it as if it's something to be proud of. I mean, the as it is said, the politically ignorant person is the most stupid type of ignorance. You say, no, I don't do politics. I don't talk about politics. I don't win. I don't have opinion. I just let them just do their thing. So there are people like that, naive. Some people are voluntarily naive. They just decide that the way to be safe is to not know and just do. So there's a naive and afraid. Naive could also mean, for example, that you are like, the ostrich. The ostrich, when the ostrich sees danger, you now put his head in the sand. Imagine that. The ostrich idea is that if it does not see it, then it is not danger. Or that if you see danger, then just make sure you don't see it again and then the danger disappears. Imagine that. Just imagine that. Okay, so there is the naive and afraid, and then there is the naive and not afraid. There is naive and not afraid of the law. Now, the naive and not afraid they are interesting, okay? They don't know how things work, but they just feel that I have no business with you because they are not guilty, they're not guilty of all those unwritten stuff, So there's that, okay? So mention 4 types now. So let's go to another 2 types. All right. So there is the upright. Upright means relatively not guilty of all of those things. Not guilty of constitution, because of course you cannot be guilty of the constitution until you are proven guilty, and also not guilty of all the unwritten stuff because you're well dressed, and so on and so forth. All right. Let me quickly mention that nobody can be totally not guilty in the eyes of the unwritten stuff, especially if you are just young. If you are young, you're already guilty. The police already sees you as guilty. So one of the things I should have said, this is relatively upright. I'm not even just put outright upright there, like that. So upright doesn't want trouble with the law. Says that you're upright, but you are kind of afraid. You're kind of no, I don't want you. No, calm down. They say no. They say, are you a Yahoo boy? He said, no. Hey, take my phone, check it. Even though the police should not ask you to check your phone. I mean, which that's the written thing. The written thing is that police can slap you and collect your phone and check. Oh my God, is this not interesting? This is interesting. Your life is constantly in between what is written and what is not written. I'm telling you, your life is the skill. It is your skill of how to stay on balance that will help you keep your life. It's crazy. Anyways, so this one says, no, check my phone, no. See, there's even nothing there. See the power of divine code. See, in fact, look at me. This car gone. I will just, it was 22 years old. I was 22 years old when I finished in school. And when I finished, I passed very well. So because I didn't finish this first class. So I now went to send back for my NYSC. So they now retain me. And when they now retain me, police has not even asked anything. So when they now retain me, there's this thing that they have this portal for training that you're just supposed to just training. So because maybe I was serving and I had plenty time and I'm not used to even go out. So your girlfriend is there, you're talking like that. Your girlfriend is there. She's kneeling down. She's saying, please sir, please. No. Police are just looking at you. They're not looking at you like well. Yeah. And you're saying, so when I now did plenty of the online training. So I did not know that they used to check that thing on the portal in the head office. So one day my boss just called me that a call came in from the head office that they are giving some promotion, and what they are using is people who have gone through their online trainings and scored the highest. And I happen to be the one that scored the highest in the state that I served. In fact, I was one of the highest in the whole country who had done more courses. So they now gave me promotion. So they now gave me like 2-3 times what should have been my promotion. So I now got, so that promotion now came with an official car and a car loan. So that's how I now bought this car. That's how I'm able to buy this car, brand new. Sir, where this is me, y'all know, I just look young. Oh, why you carrying bets? Why you carrying bets? I don't know, sir. I just said, let me just do. Yeah, the naive doesn't want trouble with the law. So they will go over and beyond. The upright. And then there is now the upright does not mind trouble with the law. So you are you are relatively not guilty, and then you're pulled over by the police, and then you don't really mind trouble. Quote. So you have the body language of, look, I'm okay. I won't do what the government said not do. I will also not be guilty of what society terms as reckless and stupid. So here I am, upright, relatively upright. All right. The other thing that you can do is to charge me with other things that you find when or if you investigate me. But as we are looking at ourselves like this, you and I know that I am upright and stuff like that. Okay. So there is that. Good. So I mentioned 3 profiles, right? Okay. There is the guilty. There's this guilty and not afraid of the law. Guilty, not afraid of the law. And then guilty and afraid of the law. And then there is naive and afraid of the law. There's naive and not afraid of the law. And then there is upright, doesn't want trouble with the law. And there's upright, doesn't mind trouble with the law. Good. So these are not the only type of profile. There are other profiles. For example, there's a profile of the gender variant. For example, the upright wife of the upright category, or the upright wife category. So the woman herself is upright, or that kind of thing. And then there is the girlfriend of the Yahoo boys, internet fraudsters. And they are spouses, because so there's this girl chewing gum, and the hair is cut. This part is purple, and then this part is wine, and she's driving a Formatic Benz, and then by the look of things, she's 24 years old. From the way she's chewing gum and talking and driving, the police can tell that this one has not handled employment or business that can give this one this kind of car. So you can shout and say, I'm innocent and the problem guilty. Look, your looks already scream to the police that there are a lot of things illegal about you. Oh my God. Man, this is interesting. I thought this was going to be a single part. It's looking like this might be in 2 parts. So I think I should wrap it up by explaining a concept that I call who the police thinks you are, versus who you think you are. All right? There's who the officer thinks you are, based on how you are dressed, based on everything, and so on, means how he's seen you, and so on and so forth. In fact, something now happens. Engagement. When you start to talk with the police, something happens. All right? But before I get to what happens, you see, so there is who he thinks you are, and there's who you think you are. Now, it is not who you know you are, because let me tell you, let me give you an example. These are officers of the law, okay? And that's why at the beginning, I clamored for wisdom. I told you that you have to be wise. So this is about wisdom, all right? This whole thing is about wisdom. So you have to be wise. You are dealing with officers of the law. Let me give you an example, or let me give you several examples. For example, you can die. If the law says that you are alive, which means that The benefit that should go to your family members because you are dead will not go to them because the law sees you as alive. So it's not a function of who you know you are. You don't know who you are. You simply know who you think you are. So if the law does not issue a death certificate to your name, you are not dead. They've not given back to you if the law has not issued a birth certificate to your name. You are not a Nigerian, or you don't exist, or you can't prove you're a Nigerian if you don't have either the passport or the identity card or a BVN or a number. So the law of your land is the one that will decide whether you are alive or existent or not. So you see, when you know this, you will stop being naive. This is this knowledge that removes you from all those naivety, all those naive category, all those naive people. It's naive because when policemen people are naive, they just laugh. they just laugh. they just laugh. The laugh is, if you've been there, maybe you've been naive. The laugh is not that they are laughing just at you. They are laughing at the kind of suffer that can happen to your life. It's amusing them. It's amusing them that you don't know. You don't know what can happen to you. Yeah, that's what makes them laugh. And they laugh, and then they laugh very well. They look at you, and then they laugh some more. So, who he thinks you are happens from the point he sights you, sights your car, sights you on the bike. They can pull you over from the bike and you're coming, because you carry a backpack, find you that you're probably a student who can be roughened up, or you're probably a young boy who has not bought car, they provide you. So profiling, they decide who they think you are. So they just laugh at you because they see that you do not know the gravity of what could just happen to you. So from the point where they cite you to the point where you are about to offer your first word, what is operating there is who he thinks you are. Alright, and I've explained how your identity complex is formed. Now, you who are coming, there's who you think you are. I have explained to you that they forget who you think you are. Now, between who he thinks you are and who you think you are, there must be a battle. But I don't want to call it a battle, I want to call it a journey, because if I say battle, and then you'll be afraid, all right? And I want to tell you, that you see the two categories of people who are not afraid, the profiles, the upright doesn't mind trouble with the law, and then the guilty not afraid of the law. The two categories of those people, those are the categories that I recommend, not because of whether you are upright or that you are guilty, more of the fact that you are not afraid. And I want to explain that issue of not being afraid, because you see, being afraid means that you do not know the things that work for you or should work for you, or you have not positioned yourself so that you can harness and maximize and benefit from things that should work for you, and also knowing how to use the things that work against them. All right. So they may be officers of law, but there are other things that you should know, and it's a typical, it's a tiny type of power play that happens. If you meet a policeman who is bent on collecting money from you, he really does not care that you are upright or that you are guilty. What he needs you to be is to be afraid, which means that it doesn't matter that you are upright, a law-abiding citizen, or that your profile will be screaming that you engage in illegal stuff, What it needs you to be is afraid, because once you are afraid, then you want to get out of the potential trouble that you are in. And the only way you think you could be able to get out of that potential problem that you are in is to pay money. So that is where he wants you to be. So it's not a question of guilty or not guilty. If he thinks you are guilty, he just expects you to be afraid. Now, if you are guilty, if he thinks you are guilty and you are not afraid, he simply wants to find out whether you are not afraid because you are stupid, or you are not afraid because you have certain things or know certain people, or you are highly placed and so therefore are not afraid. So it's a journey. So it is not a journey of becoming who he thinks you are, because that's probably a dangerous place. Okay, it is a journey to becoming the profile, or becoming the person, or becoming how you are favored, becoming what favors you, becoming what benefits you, so that you can live and escape that situation unscathed. And the way to do that is to say every right thing, to behave in every right way. All right? And I want to wrap this up, with the profiles and explain, because that means I will have to have part 2, and part 2 is where I will now begin to talk about, other things that you should know. All right? There are several things that I want you to know for sure. So, and then I'll take it from there. But the most important thing here is to realize that what you want to do is that you do not want to be naive. All right? It is the knowledge of how your environment works, knowledge of the internal workings of where you found yourself, or the institution that is dealing with you, that knowledge, that understanding, is what moves you from being naive. Being naive is not a profile that I want to recommend at all. All right? For your sake, I hope you are, of course, you are innocent and proven guilty, but really, I wish that you are able to portray your life in such a way that you are not necessarily at the margins. Yeah, it's better for you to be safe in the middle of stereotypes or prototypes. To carry the flank is a bit, and people carry flanks. For some people, even wearing beards like this is on the flanks, on the edge. But at least people can greet me and say Afar or Lord, that kind of thing, and then greet me and say Assalamu alaikum, and say I think that I'm a Muslim clergy. So I have something to cover that, for example. All right, and I don't look like a 20-something-year-old who shouldn't be able to drive a Toyota Camry of 2012. Did you see? So it's not just one straight thing. It's a combination of your outlook, that gives you the result of what you are profiled at. So when you open your mouth, this is what you should learn, and this is me wrapping up with this part 1, okay? So please pay careful attention. Now, you want to be afraid. You sound like I'm contradicting myself. Please pay attention. I have told you that the profile that I recommend is the one where you're not afraid for smart reasons, or you don't mind trouble. You don't mind having to engage in trouble with the officers of the law. Right, which also means that you are not afraid, Now, I am saying that I need you to be aware that you should be afraid. The factors that call for you to be afraid, I need you to be aware of it. For example, if a policeman was carrying a gun, which is probably 99 times 100 times loaded, and you are engaging with him. You don't know how frustrated he is. You don't know if he's had anything to drink. You don't know if he's taking drugs. You don't know what's up with him. You don't know if he's enraged. You don't know if he has anger issues. You don't know if he has discernment issues. You don't know if he has any other type of issues that can make him discharge the gun on you. Which means that if he were to shoot you where delicate in your body, you won't lose your life. It does not matter whether he is brought to justice by the law. It could be. You could even be given a capital punishment, okay? But there's nothing that happens after that time that will return you back to life. You would be dead, which means your parents will never see you again, which means your siblings and your spouse will never see you again. So you should be afraid that you're in a system where a stupid person can end your life. Now, I am now saying don't be afraid because I now expect you to rise at the level of courage that allows you to interact without that fear factor coming to play in your reasoning or in the articulation of your thoughts and in the articulation of your speech. So, I am asking you to be courageous. I'm asking you to acknowledge that you are not in a place where you can do anything anyhow because you do not want to end up dead. In fact, you don't even want to end up physically abused. You don't even want to be slapped and all of things like that. I'll talk about that in part 2. Okay? So that's what I want you to have in mind before you start to speak. Now, if you look at yourself, the journey of where you want to be, which could be a journey of who you think you are, that journey must start with who it thinks you are. The journey must begin from what the police officer thinks about you, not from where you think you are. Because people make that mistake and say, no, but you know who I am, do you know who I am, I'm in this, I'm in that, and that's all wrong. What you want to do is that you want to respect the officer, all right? You want to smile like you are up at top, like they are not disturbing you, all right? And then you want to exude and express confidence, all right? You want to exude confidence. You want to express yourself confidently well in a manner that does not condescend. Now, condescending does not mean that you have to wallow in worship. All right? Condescending simply means acknowledge the office. Because whether you like it or not, the office is not tainted. The person may be tainted. The officer of the law is still the officer of the law. There is no alternative for him at that particular point in time. So there's the person and there's the office. So you must acknowledge that office. All right? And then what happens with that? Now, let me tell you this, okay? This is the point where I stop and quickly say this. Your manner of speech must be coherent, and in synchronicity with who he thinks you are. If he thinks that you are guilty, you better get there and then talk street parlance and say, "Alaye mi, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀?" In Yoruba, that's Yoruba for I don't know the English of that. I don't know the English of that. That's just like saying, "My guy, how far? How we did?" That kind of thing. So, there's no English for that as well. I even have to use speaking. All right. So, alaye means you have accepted that he is in the office where he can do. So he knows that you have accepted. What that does automatically, first of all, is that you have shown that you are not naive. If you now go further and say, for example, you say, báwo ló ṣe máa lọ? You say, so how is it going to go? Now that shows that for him, the interpretation is that he now realizes that you are not afraid. You know what he can do, but you also know why you would not dare or you should not dare do what you think he can do. Do you get the idea? So now you're probably in a situation where the context is higher, than the words. Alright, so what I assure you is that as you discuss this thing, he is getting the meaning loud and clear. You'll be amazed at at the depth of your communication or the connectivity of your communication. So now, because if you are guilty and you want to talk like good afternoon, officer of the law, how do you do today? You could just like, are you kidding me? You're a criminal. You have no grounds. You have no grounds to talk to me like you're appreciating my good work. No, you do not have right to appreciate my good work because you have no good works. What you should be able to appreciate is the fact that I can finish you in court because you're not a good person. You're not, you're guilty. Do you get the idea? So, who you think you are is what must stem what your communication comes from. So that is how it must go. There is no other way than that. Alright, so I will talk more about this in part 2. I think this is the part where I should wrap it up. It's been an amazing time with you. And yeah, I think so let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. And please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to share. And we will see you in part 2. So, bye.